Illegitimi non carborundum. Why America won't go metric. The metric system of measurements is a simple, logical way of quantifying length, mass, temperature, and volume. According to such unimpeachable sources as the CIA and Wikipedia, this utilitarian system is used everywhere except Liberia, Myanmar, that's a real country I checked, and the United States. While Liberia and Myanmar are eventually sure to buckle under the New World Order's globalization agenda of a standardized measurement system, we Americans will cling desperately to our antiquated modes of measurement for as long as the U.S. continues to exist. What justifies our tenacity in refusing the obvious panacea of measurements already adopted by everyone else who matters in the world? Is it the natural resistance of everyone who isn't a toll booth operator to accept change? Could it be that the U.S. is just being an arrogant jerk? Rhetorical question. No, it's because converting to metric will actually result in the downfall of the United States of America. The Constitution specifically grants Congress the power to fix the standards of weights and measures, which means it will take a federal law to foist the metric system upon us. Supposing our elected officials take time out of their busy schedule of raiding the U.S. Treasury to fund pork barrel projects and actually pass such a law, what will be the result? Aside from The Idiot's Guide to the Metric System, 2nd edition, now with conversion tables, becoming an overnight bestseller and a massive expansion of the traffic sign repainting industry, there is an unintended consequence to the passage of the Metric Act of, insert arbitrary year, the secession of Colorado from the U.S. What? Colorado would risk starting a second civil war rather than go metric? You bet your ass they would. There is no way in hell that Denver is going to change its nickname from the Mile High City to the 1.6 kilometer high city. If it did, its new nickname would actually become the city with the lamest nickname, and they would have to change the plaque that's on the steps of the state capitol building that proclaims the exact spot that is 1 mile above sea level. And changing a plaque on a government building is a lot more work than just declaring your state to be an independent nation. Besides, Colorado knows that if it secedes, then Wyoming will surely follow suit in a show of square-shaped state solidarity. They would then form the Western United States, WUS, or WUS for short. So what if we lose Colorado and Wyoming? Big deal, you say. It's a small price to pay to join the rest of the world in measurement harmony. What do Colorado and Wyoming have that's so great anyway? Wyoming has Devil's Tower and cowboys, many of whom are not illiterate. Man, we are really going to miss Colorado. Obviously, one of the WUS's first acts as a sovereign nation will be to nationalize, that is, theft performed by government, everything within its borders that belongs to what they will refer to as the MUS, the Metric United States. In Colorado, this includes the Federal Citizen Information Center, the United States Air Force Academy, and NORAD. Oh, you've never heard of the Federal Citizen Information Center? Sure you have, you just don't remember the name. I'll give you a hint about the FCIC. It has its own zip code, 81009, and is located in Pueblo, Colorado. Those of you familiar with the FCIC's public service announcements or the musical stylings of the Dead Milkmen will now immediately recognize the purpose of this government department. The FCIC is responsible for printing and distributing free and low-cost informational pamphlets. These include such gems as Pap Test Fact Sheet, Pet Turtles, a common source of salmonella, and the oh-so-cleverly titled orthodontic booklet, Straight Talk on Braces. The FCIC does not, however, have a pamphlet entitled, Do You Know What the Queers Are Doing to Our Soil? Or so they claimed when I asked them. If the WUS nationalizes the FCIC, then the rest of us are in a world of hurt because we will then have to turn to Jack Chick for our free informational tracts. The U.S. Air Force Academy usually has a better football team than either Army or Navy, and this is normally nothing to brag about, but imagine the demoralizing effect of having the asses of the Army and Navy football teams handed to them by a bunch of wusses. Army and Navy morale will reach a nadir of epic magnitude, which will result in a weakening of our global military hegemony. Other than the football team, the Air Force Academy probably isn't that big of a loss. I mean, after all, the Academy is where they train pilots. Most of the folks who actually know how to fly the planes are stationed outside of Colorado. Now, NORAD is the really big loss for the MUS. The North American Aerospace Defense Command, known as NORAD because it sounds a lot cooler than NAADC, is the military organization that is charged with providing air sovereignty and defense for North America. Yes, that includes the unlikely scenario of defending Canada against aerial bombardment by someone other than us. And NORAD's got a kick-ass logo. Seriously, it's an enormous sword superimposed over North America. And as we know from the 1983 documentary War Games, NORAD also has airtight security that can only be bypassed by plucky teenagers. Fortunately for North America, teenagers today are far too sullen and cynical to be plucky, thus our airspace can remain relatively sovereign and defended. However, all of that changes when the WUS assumes control of NORAD. NORAD will be retasked to defend against the encroachment of the metric menace, and all of the sovereign airspace in North America that is not over Colorado and Wyoming will become one big fly whatever the hell you want here zone. This will result in any country capable of bombing us doing so out of sheer spite or boredom. The MUS will then be at the mercy of whatever's left to pick up the pieces, and it's so long good old US frackin' A. That is why America will never go metric. And furthermore, Carthago delenda est.